Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Tonight, a Knox County home is rubble. A fire ripped through it this morning. The good news, 7 children and several adults made it out alive. Here is cell phone video someone sent us. Neighbors tell us 10 to 16 people were living inside. Several of them did go to the hospital with burns, some even airlifted. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds shows us the scene where firefighters and 2 women rushed in to help.
A normal morning turned into a frightening sight for many in Corbin.
I've never seen smoke like that in my life.
This cell phone video captured the intensity of the flames and smoke.
And we just came up through, make sure everybody's okay.
As firefighters rushed to the house, Rebecca Miller and Jessica Bennett ran to help the children and adults who escaped the fire.
There was one little girl, she was burned up. I mean, she had 3rd-degree burns on her face, and you could see her skin pulling off. It was just melting off the little girl's face. She wasn't probably 9 years old.
As firefighters worked to extinguish the flames,
we made an extremely aggressive interior attack.
The collapsing house became too dangerous.
We didn't know if everyone was out.
Everyone inside was checked for smoke inhalation. 2 were airlifted immediately. At least 2 others needed extra attention, making the scene even more devastating for neighbors.
They're on my mind. And I'll request prayer in church. It's just bad.
The city brought out a backhoe to finish tearing down the building. For firefighters, scenes like this hit home.
It's rough. I mean, especially when you have young kids. We all have kids on shift here.
Really putting into perspective just how quickly a simple morning can change so much. In Corbin, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Firefighters say at this point they do not know where the fire started or what caused it. A grand jury will hear the case of a former Harlan County High School JROTC instructor accused of sexually abusing a student. Daniel Tuttle surrendered to police in January. In March, Social Services received a report that he allegedly sexually assaulted a teenage girl. A grand jury will decide whether or not to indict Tuttle. The meeting between the Lexington Bar and the Alcohol Beverage Control has been pushed back to next month. Horseshoes Kentucky Grill and Saloon on North Broadway in Lexington is accused of over-serving a man who was later involved in a deadly crash on I-75. Owners were scheduled to meet with the ABC office last week. That meeting is now rescheduled for March 5th. Lexington police say Joey Lee Bailey, who grew up in eastern Kentucky, had several drinks before the January crash. Bailey and a Michigan family of 5 were all killed in that crash.
And it's been another beautiful day here in the mountains. The good news is we will see those calm conditions continue as we head into the overnight hours and into your Wednesday. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our cameras. The National Weather Service camera in Jackson showing a few clouds increasing throughout the day. And as we head into those overnight hours, we might hang on to a few of those clouds. But the sunset is absolutely beautiful. Even on our Whitesburg cam, a few clouds in the sky, but overall it's still a calm night ahead. Pinpoint Doppler looking at a clean sweep. We're also seeing those flood warnings start to go away, which is also some good news for us here in eastern Kentucky. Temperatures, they're pretty nice outside. We're seeing those mid to upper 50s, some spots maybe into those lower 50s, but overall we'll see those warm temperatures continue into your Wednesday. We'll even see those increase a little bit. I'll have those details coming up in just a little bit. Steve.
Thank you, Paige. Blessed. That is a word the community is using to describe how they feel 3 days after floodwaters rushed into their homes and yards in the middle of the night. WYMT's Will Puckett was there today as folks in the small town of Lee City in Wolfe County told him you can replace material items, but you cannot replace lives.
Actually, it was one of the worst times of our lives.
Dolores Parks has lived in Lee City for 40 years.
My husband has lived here almost all of his life, which is a bunch more than 40.
Saturday night, this small community along Kentucky 205 was inundated with loads of water.
We didn't want to be drowned either. We felt like our lives was in jeopardy, that we better just pray to the good Lord, and he did keep us safe.
Parks and her husband live in this little house. Around the corner lives Barbara Houndshell. This is the inside of her home, ripped to shreds as they clean up.
Got up and
destroyed quite a bit. We've got to replace the floors and things. And
Hounshell has lived here all of her life, too. She's seen flooding, but nothing like this.
This is the worst that it has been.
This community evacuated to a nearby church, seeking shelter and keeping the faith. Something Parks was met with when she returned home the next day.
I found a birthday card from my mama, and she's passed away now. And it wasn't wet. It was dry.
And if that wasn't enough, a set of Bibles she had just purchased, through it all, went untouched.
The bottom of the box is all that was wet. The Bibles weren't tipped.
Strengthening the faith she already had. In Wolfe County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
The people who live in Lee City say families are displaced and houses are ruined, but hope still remains strong. One Wolfe County car dealership general manager even saw water getting into his car lot and had to move fast to stay ahead of the elements over the weekend. Take a look at this video shot Saturday night outside of Mann Chevrolet Buick. As you can see, a good portion of that parking lot is completely underwater, and on the other side you can see the water almost reaching some of the trucks.
Cars were pulling off the side of the road to help us. We had to get keys and everything, of course. And once we got everything keyed up and got everything moving, it started getting on the lot. So we probably had 15 people helping, and it was just crazy, just insane.
Of course, that lot right off Highway 15. Price says yesterday firefighters came out to help clean the mud off the car lot, and despite the flooding, they remain open. In Laurel County, the Daniel Boone National Forest posted new pictures of high water at Laurel Lake. They say Regina Roby took these pictures on Sunday from the spillway and dock. You can see the water is almost to the top of the spillway, and the dock is almost completely submerged. Now, Lake Cumberland is finally beginning to slowly go down. As of this afternoon, the water level at Wolf Creek Dam was 756 feet above sea level. As crews work to control the historic water levels, anyone living downstream on the Cumberland River is facing flooding issues. A new record of nearly 56 feet was reached on the Cumberland River in Burkesville early Tuesday morning. At least 12 roads are impacted by the high water, but most of the homes with water in them are vacation or secondary structures. At least a dozen eastern Kentucky counties have declared a local state of emergency, and you can now add Floyd County to that list. You see the counties that have declared a state of emergency there in blue. Governor Bevin also yesterday declared a state of emergency for the entire state. And today we heard from Congressman Hal Rogers in Washington, D.C.
Well, it's the worst flooding we've had in a long, long time. Roads are washed away, mudslides, rock slides, and the like. It's a horrible situation, and it certainly is a disaster over almost the entire state, but especially the east in my district.
Well, if you went up to Buckhorn recently, the lake is extremely high there. While it is not at a record-breaking level, it's still a very interesting and unusual sight. Here is some video that we took today. The lake is at 832 feet above sea level. That is 50 feet higher than normal. And because the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is releasing so much water, that's causing flooding in Leslie County. WYMT's Macy Marie talked to a teacher who could not make it to work, and she joins us now live from Leslie County. Macy?
Hey Steve, I'm actually at the 911 center right now. That's about an 18 to 20 minute drive from Confluence, one of the hardest hit areas in Leslie County right now. Water over the road at Kentucky 257, and people cannot get out because of that. I actually talked to one teacher who lives in Dry Hill. That's a few miles before you even get to Confluence, and she says she's stuck due to that water. She actually told me this is the first time she's ever been trapped, and she's lived in the area her whole life. Well, I couldn't get to Tracy Lewis, and she couldn't get to me either, so we video chatted.
This is the worst that it's ever been. I have never been trapped where I could never go to work. The flood of '84, it was over, but I was so young. I don't remember much about that, but this is the highest that I've ever seen it, and I've lived down here all my life.
Now, Steve, Tracy Lewis said she does not own a boat, but plans on buying one after this. County officials and volunteers are bringing supplies by boat throughout the week to those trapped in the confluence area. I was actually at the park in downtown Hyden earlier, Steve, where I saw some of them coming back from a trip today. For now, live in Leslie County, Macy Marie, WYMT Mountain News.
Definitely a tough situation for those folks. Macy, thank you. In the midst of all this flooding, a picture of a woman in the severely flooded areas of Leslie County caught our eye this morning. Here it is. She's using a boat to make sure she does not miss a single day of work. We sent WYMT's Connor James there to learn more about her story.
For nearly 18 years.
18 years in May.
You can almost always find Janice Huff here, the Hyden Health and Rehabilitation Center.
Well, I'm proud of my job.
Mopping, sweeping, going the extra mile at work.
It was cold this morning. It was 24 this morning.
We'll get back to her.
We have to wait till daylight, and it probably takes us about 10-15 minutes.
But first, I want to introduce you to her husband.
I'm used to this.
Yeah, that's Ira, making light of the situation.
Oh, yeah, we've done this for quite a few years. Yeah, we have.
In their more than 41 years of marriage.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of years.
Flooding is something they're all too familiar with. Nearly 20 minutes down a bumpy one-lane road, you will find Ira.
Yeah, I used to sit in the corner here and paddle it.
Sitting.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Waiting.
So this year we went to Walmart and bought us a little electric motor and a battery.
Yep, that's Ira joking about it again.
I don't let things stop me.
You see that little John boat? It isn't for any passion Ira might have. For the last 3 days and the foreseeable future, it will dock right here.
Oh, yeah.
While Janice cares for the people.
Yes, the residents.
She cares so much about.
They put a smile on my face. Yeah, they put a smile on my face.
While Ira tends to the boat.
Yes, sir, I do. Yeah.
That carries her passion.
Yeah, I do.
In Leslie County, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
The Huffs say the boat they use to go back and forth from their home is about 50 years old. They think they'll be needing it for the next couple of weeks. A Perry County Montessori prepares to close its doors but leaves parents in a rush to find new daycare.
And it's been an absolutely beautiful day, warm one as well, a little bit above average. And as we head into tomorrow, will be even more above average for your Wednesday. But we will see those scattered rain chances return and the possibility for a wintry mix as we head into the weekend. Those details coming up in just a few minutes.
When you see